Hello everyone! So, here we are. We are starting Arc 3 of Elders. And these first two sessions are gonna cover Naxi, who's gonna be joining us since our group has unfortunately parted ways with Epic, who was playing Vivian. We're gonna be, this session, going through Naxi's character, as well as discussing any rules changes we would like to make for this next arc. And if Jackalor sucking on something over there is distracting you as well, you're not the only ones.
His ice cream I got from a fridge.
Next session, we're gonna be discussing NPC downtimes and just how much effort the various NPCs were able to put into securing themselves versus the werewolf menace, which could number as many as 100 and change werewolves, depending on how I interpret the results. They put a lot of effort into recruiting and got on their downtime access somewhere in the realm of 100 successes on recruitment efforts among the elders of the council.
So I like. Please.
God, that's awful.
You cut out there, Jackalor, but yes, it is awful. It is gonna be horrible. It's gonna be fucking horrible, everyone. I'm looking forward to this.
We just need to make more ghouls. Give them silver, then we'll probably be fine, right?
Maybe.
To work then, elders walk up to the chantry wards. Okay, we break through the shit and we get our stuff back, right? Okay, smash. So, that being said, Naxi, how about you tell us about your cancerous elder?
Can't, that's me, you know? I don't know where to even start. Well, it's another Scandinavian gangrel.
There's a Get of Fenris elder on the Werewolf Council, I believe. Just so you're aware with the backstory you wrote. So, since you have made yourself quite deliberately an enemy of the great Fenris, you know, keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, it was necessary.
My clan's totem spirit has sent me dreams about you. Fenris doesn't like you very much.
It's fine, werewolves are kind of pushovers after all.
I mean, Redemer does have a point. It is, in fact, an Odin.
Yeah, basically. Oh well, it's a gangrel elder that has delusions about being Odin. Full with 2 ravens and 2 wolves and 1 human, because for good measure.
Is his name Thor?
Probably not, it's just a human.
It's just
Just
a
a
random
dwarf.
Sven Jackalor. I don't care what your name was before this. You are now Sven, my loyal retainer.
Sounds good.
I have not made a separate sheet for the animals. It will probably be just like a wolf sheet.
Yep.
Because that
And it's
makes sense
perfectly
for
fine.
stats. Okay. So, you can actually go through the biography and start with that. Like, what was Harald like in mortal life? Where does he come from?
Yeah, he was born in like the later half of the 15th century in 1473 into like a poor family in rural Sweden. And his like he had a lot of siblings. Well, not a lot for the time, I guess only 4. 3.
Well,
And his
four
father was
that
like a
lived.
fisherman. Yeah, 4 that lived. But yeah, his father was a fisherman, but he was more drawn to the woods and to hunting. And so as a young man, he also lost like his eye in an accident while fighting a bear. And as he grew older, he entered like the service of a nobleman that had a thrill for the hunting, who turned out to be like a ghoul of an elder Gangrel, who then would eventually become his sire.
I think you froze there. Okay, well, rip.
F.
F. Does this help? Nope.
Tired bacon is tired.
Yeah, I slept like 4 hours yesterday and 6 today, so
Oof.
Have you tried this thing called sleep bacon?
actually I tried like I used to do it like 8 years ago, but then I just didn't care anymore and stopped doing it.
Ah, yes, the field of fox lies barren.
I'm going to be sleeping in the corner here. Continue.
There we go.
What happened?
Yeah, sorry, I had like a root at a hiccup or something.
Okay.
Okay. You were telling about the place where Malkavian Methuselah decided to fuck up some gangrel for some strange reason.
I mean, he was probably just getting old and sad. People go insane sometimes after all.
Mr. Odin.
But yeah, after like a couple of decades, when his sire released him, he traveled like to Scandinavia and the Baltics first, like learning from clanmates and other kindred. And then returned to his sire at like the beginning of the 17th century. And like noticed that he is still not he still hasn't let go. And so he goes and decides to travel more. And then he travels through like Germany and then France and Great Britain. Got tortured in the English Civil War. And then a few decades later was like found in the rubble somewhere and got back up, having only lost a few decades. And then yeah, he returned to Sweden again upon invitation of like a friend of his sire, after he traveled some more through Iberia and Italy. And then he returned to Sweden again, and yeah, his sire kind of lost it by that point, and like had tricked him into being bloodbound fully, and then spent the next decades teaching him about his new true self.
And that's why you don't eat Malkavians. Ever.
Until then, eventually in like 1808, with the Napoleonic Wars, a group of kindred stumbled upon our little home, I suppose, and yeah, they weren't friendly after they discovered his madness, and Harald was tortured, and so were most of the others, besides his sire, who vanished into the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Harald was recognized for like by someone because of like his many travels before, and so he was spared the final death, and then later awoke in Stockholm, and then traveled eastwards afterwards because the local prince was like worried about his new identity.
Oh my fucking god, I think there's one elder that you might have known from before. 1620s to 1650s, you traveled France and Great Britain. I think that was the time. No, Jackalor traveled to Canada before he got embraced. Never mind.
And yeah, then the rest of the time before coming to the Americas, he spent in Eastern Europe for the most part, hunting werewolves and stuff. And learning to be more subtle.
Mm-hmm. Wakes up from torpor. Bow before me, mortals. Prince just looks at someone in the court. I thought you said this was a gag growl. What is this Malkavian doing here?
You know, he was in England in the 1600s.
He might have known Alan Percy.
Yeah, Alan was there until 1670 when he went to New World.
Yeah. You would have actually met Alan Percy back in the day. Potentially. I mean, you were in various courts, so it makes sense, and kindred courts aren't that big, so...
Yeah, likely.
Nice city you go. Wait, who's this fucker in charge? I can't see Alan. Okay.
A Bruja Prince? What is this?
Halfdan's backstory. Here we go. Turned in 1530. Fucked off from his sire in 1580. When were you last in Sweden? Or, let's see, embraced? Released in 1560. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, Alan Percy and Halfdan. Those are two fuckers you probably knew.
Oh, the two that aren't anymore.
All my friends are dead. This city will burn.
And it would be only natural if the only god in the city becomes prince.
Yeah. At first, before you were released, and then after you woke from torpor and traveled a bit more. Well, first time from torpor. You could have both times run into Halfdan. Because he was traveling at around the same time, and he was in Sweden after his embrace at about the same time period.
Yeah, it makes sense.
As far as guest stars for this arc, we're gonna start including them up after we find our feet. So maybe in a month or two, Redemar. So not just yet. But okay, we made it up to I think roughly you waking up. Then you went to Russian Eastern Europe, of course. Right. And you moved to the New World in 1890. So, one of the most recent migrants from among the elders. Not counting Benjamin, who's a fuck up.
Oh wow, so they all went very early, huh?
Most of them, yeah. Okay. Benjamin backstory, embraced in 1713. Stayed in England till 53. And stayed in France till 1803. You
No,
were...
I was with my sire until 1808.
Okay. So you were traveling Russia and Eastern Europe. Actually, no. Benjamin is the latest migrant. He only came over in 46.
Ah, yeah.
This century, 46, I mean.
Oh, so yeah, he's the most recent.
But did you travel as far westwards as Vienna or Germany when you were wandering before coming over?
Maybe. I haven't thought about where exactly I was in Western Europe during 1875.
I would say that you should have sometimes, preferably for story's sake, with some of the others.
Yeah.
But Alan and Halfdan covered that. If you want to have a run into Benjamin once Demi is here, that can be a thing.
Yeah, we can talk about it once he comes back.
Okay. So... after waking to his house, for fuck's sake. I was gonna have the gangrel have werewolves in their face already. Thank you for making this so easy. Okay, well, tell us a little bit about what he's like these days. How he does things, how he views things, etc, etc, etc. Because obviously he's
Yeah,
changed a great deal from how he was.
Yeah, he tempered himself a little. Learned that he should be more cunning instead of outright open about his identity.
His divine nature.
Yeah. He usually doesn't stay that long in a city. Because usually trouble is afoot when he comes around, for one reason or another.
Okay.
Yeah, but he doesn't necessarily stir up any trouble anymore like that.
Why conniver though? Because that is... or how does that manifest? Because that is usually about getting other people to do your dirty work or sort of maneuvering things into position that work for you.
Oh yeah, I wasn't quite sure about the nature yet. I think I left conniver in. Okay.
Join the Conniver Club.
I mean, conniver is good for Odin because Odin is a cunt from what I hear.
Yeah, I think that's why I put it in on originally. I didn't go over my nature again after making the character, after finishing it, I mean.
Okay. So, what we should do then... Did you? You did not, of course, note down what you
It's
spent
here.
yet.
I have it here in the notes.
Okay. I'm just gonna copy paste it to like notepad on another screen. Actually, I need all of this. Okay. Feel free to switch it back to the main one. What I needed from this tab. And actually, if you don't mind, I'll make this visible to everyone so they can
Sure.
take a look. So let's see. What was your primary here?
I think it was talents.
I mean, in terms of attributes first.
Oh, right. I think it went physical, mental, social.
Physical, mental, social.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay. So, no freebies spent on that. Okay. Okay. So for attributes, in total you should have spent 12, 16, and 12. So a total of 40. Yep.
Surprised you went 7th gen and not didn't put anything at 6.
My protein is at 6.
I meant for the attributes.
That's what
Yeah,
bitches do,
I didn't end
Jackalor.
up doing that.
I
Like, I
understand.
didn't want to over specialize.
Fair enough.
I might eventually raise something to 6, but I wanted to have like 3 in most of them at least.
Okay, let's double check disciplines first, and then we can worry about talents, because those are always a mess. So, that's how you've counted it, and you count the subtotals there. Okay. So 75 on protein. Okay, another 5 on animalism, 30 on fortitude, and obtain aberration and obfuscate for a total of 144. Okay, that's 800 and... or 184. Okay. And then talents, skills and knowledges. So how do you divide this up? Talents, skills, knowledges?
I'm not sure which was my secondary anymore.
Okay, we can check. I think. So 2 went into animal can, and survival and stealth up to 2.
Yeah, it probably was talent, skills, knowledges.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think that's efficient XP wise, so not gonna get fucked there. So talents you bought or skills you bought up with XP, except for a point of melee. Okay, let's go by category. So 9 points for free. You have a total of 13 in there. So you have bought... this won't work. Actually, no it will. No it will, because you're just buying second level of melee, never mind. Wait, no, you bought a performance as well. I think skills was tertiary.
Yeah, it's also possible. I don't remember anymore. It has been a few days.
Okay, so 2 dots of performance. Two dots of performance, survival stealth, melee, animal can, and that's everything from this category. So you've bought 7 with this. And with freebies you bought a point of stealth, so you have bought a total of 8 here, which means this was tertiary and this matches up. Okay. So then you have knowledges, where you have a couple of first levels and a 4th level. So occult was bought with this, and I think unless depending on, God fucking damn it, mathing is hard.
Math is hard.
Okay, yeah, no, that matches up, that's fine. So just the occult with freebies. So that would bring it to 4. And 2 more points need to be accounted for from somewhere. And you bought 2 levels of academics. So that matches up.
That's up.
And then you have 13 for free. For talents. That's relatively simple, because most of those are those that aren't 3s or 4s are 2s. So 3 skills up to what's his face. Actually, no, it makes more sense to buy level 1s if you're buying it that way. But in total you have 11, 15, 16, 22, I think. So, Brawl, Subterfuge with freebies, up to 4. Alertness, Athletics, Awareness, 2 dots of Leadership, dot of Intimidate, dot of Streetwise, so 9. Which means...
Yeah, 13 and 9 is 22 again, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that lines up. So, let's see. What would we add here to make sense? He's been running around hunting werewolves, being Odin. What I would suggest here is 2 dots of expression, 2 dots of larceny, and 2 dots of investigation to round it out.
He already... 2 more dots of expression.
Well, he only has 2 in expression.
No. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at my sheet. But yeah, I can see 2 dots of expression, 2 dots of investigation. You said what else?
Either 2 dots of investigation or a dot of extra investigation and dot of extra survival. Honestly, survival up to 3 and investigation up to 2
Yeah,
makes
if you
more
want to
sense.
attack werewolves, definitely survival to 3.
I feel like those would be things you would have picked up along the way, and larceny means that you can act as a baby spy if need be.
So, wait, what again? Expression 2, survival 3,
Investigation 2 and larceny up to 2. So that should in total be exactly 16. And most everything that you should have, you have, so...
Yep, okay. Copy and...
Funny, you actually started with more XP than I have.
Well, my apologies, Jackalor. You're just
It's
gonna
fine.
have to slaughter werewolves till you catch up.
Indeed.
Okay. So the XP matches up. All is well there. Why don't you tell us about the things that earned you the approval or disapproval of certain groups?
1 second, I'm just gonna quickly note down the XP expenditures for the 16 point.
Okay. I don't even know how Kurt is gonna fucking react to you. Actually, we should probably play that scene out. You requesting to stay in the city temporarily, at least.
Oh, yeah, I also have a background still left over, I think.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay. Okay, let's see my clan relations. I have 2 pluses with Clan Gangrel.
Okay, so describe the general, um, you know, pattern that earns you the plus, and then give us a specific case of it.
Yeah, like, general pattern is that he was, like, he traveled a lot to collect lore and also learned, like, lore from his sire, who was pretty old. And he also had, like, a strong tie to his wilderness, since, like, he was mortal. And so he was, like, a beacon in times of urbanization before he, like, vanished for a few decades with his sire.
You would have
So, like,
so met Halfdan.
like a specific thing, maybe when one of the biggest, when like one of the like I was in Great Britain a couple of times. Let's see, was it late enough? I know I was in Sweden for most of that.
Like, you don't need to describe a huge involved thing, just like a single instance where that came up essentially in your past.
Yeah, it was probably like let's see what that makes sense. Yeah, he was like a beacon for the old ways in like one of the bigger cities in Europe when he visited it, where the Gangrel were a bit distraught by the urbanization and the industrialization.
Okay. So how would that manifest? You sitting down young ones and telling them how it used to be, or smacking sense into them, or was it more a case
Yeah.
of eco-terrorism where you ended up blowing shit up?
Yeah, maybe he blew like something up, but also like dragged young Gangrel out of the city into the wilds to teach them about the old ways.
Help, help, I've been abducted. No! Okay. So blew shit up and dragged Gangrel into the wilds to teach them the way, the law of the land.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 2 positives. Why don't you give us a negative now?
Which one first? Yeah, there's like a slight negative with the Ventru, not because he disrespects the clan or anything. Like, he often tries to appear benign on first meetings.
I'm
But
harmless,
that's
honest.
like,
The rumors are exaggerated.
yeah. Usually when his arrival in like Ventru, many princes of the clan Ventru, and his arrival usually spells some sort of trouble. Though it can also be a good thing, but that's less the case. And like word has just spread about that.
Yo, I heard you have a nice city here. By the way, I also heard that werewolves want to do something about that. So, what's up? Okay, so give us an example of how a Ventru might have left fucked you over, or how things might have deteriorated.
Yeah, maybe it was like in a city where everything was actually fine, and I had convinced the prince that it wouldn't be a mistake to let. And then I started something with the local cairn of werewolves, and it spelled the city's demise.
Okay. I feel like I need to make like an intelligence politics roll for Kurt already. Okay. Fair enough. What about another positive?
Let's see. Yeah, when I was traveling Eastern Europe and struggling with the Garou, I naturally ended up helping out many Simitsi that lived there.
You
And-
really hate Clan Venture.
And we just got along somehow.
Listen, when a voivode accepts you into their castle, you know you are safe. When true, you need to check the walls, the bed, and make sure the door locks and that you have the only key.
And like a specific case, I probably helped like a voivode end his the Garou that were intruding on his domain.
Eastern Europe is Shadow Lord territory. 3 of the members of that Wolf Council are Shadow Lords.
Oh god.
So I think any hit to take you out will be passed 4-1. Just automatically. On principle.
Do you think he picked up Smoke and Mirrors?
Yeah, good thing.
Okay. So, second negative then.
Yeah, with the werewolves, obviously.
Okay, give us another specific insult to the pride of the Garou nation.
Let's see what would be something good. Oh yeah, he had like staked out a cairn. They were like fighting a Bane, and they won, but they were weakened by it because it was very powerful, and he cunningly swooped in after their fight and killed many of them.
Surprise, motherfucker. Pull someone under the water. Okay. Next positive.
Let's see. Let's go with the Nosferatu. Because he always treats them like normal vampires, despite their appearance, as his sire taught him to.
Okay, that is
yeah,
fucking
about,
racist. You're supposed to not notice their appearance and not bring attention to it. What the fuck is wrong with you? Being generous to the poor Nosferatu. I see how it is.
But I'm treating them like normal people.
Implying that they're not?
Old ones will remember that.
Okay, so give us an example.
Let's see. Maybe he stood up for them in like a city where there was like a stuck-up toreador being the prince.
I hear these paintings are valuable. Scratch!
Benjamin will hate you.
He can, I guess. He's too slow to do anything, though.
Too fast for his celerity.
Doesn't it just mean he can walk at normal speed?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, and that just leaves the two different instances of how the Tremere tend to hate you for some strange reason.
Oh yeah, and I also have still 2 pluses with Clan Ravnors.
Yes, but let's do the Tremeres on the negative side first.
Yeah, like while he was in Eastern Europe, like he had like a certain, as Odin, he of course has a certain hunger for occult lore, and it just kept putting him at odds with the Tremere. Like, it's not that he didn't respect them or anything, or that he treated them unfriendly on principle, but more like that what soured the relation was him befriending like the local Simizi and tricking younger Tremere out of occult lore. And maybe once or twice he found himself in like being part of a raid on Tremere chantries.
Oof.
It was an accident. I just got caught up. We were out for a night on the town. Then we started drinking, and the next thing I know, I am in the library. Everything's on fire, and I'm stealing books.
Basically.
I'm not sure which is worse, the fact that you burned down the library or the fact that you stole the books.
Rolls up into town with a truckload of valuable Tremere tomes from centuries back. Sup, bitches?
You have a library, I think.
No, but I have eidetic memory.
Disgusting.
Wow, you also picked eidetic memory. Did you
Yeah.
just burn the books after you read them?
Yes. You know, we in Clan Gangrel follow an oral tradition, Jackalaw.
But burning books!
The Tremere can't
After you
reclaim
read
them if you do it that way. Though honestly, if that was your modus operandi, it might be fitting to move something around so you end up at 5 or 6 occult total, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can check if that's possible.
But let's finish these up first, so... Okay, so give us a specific instance of raiding a chantry.
Yeah, he raided like a chantry in Eastern Europe, and they were about to reclaim the books from him but he had already had them burning in his fireplace.
Yes, you can reclaim the books if you wish. They're over there. Tremere clutches his head and goes, "Ah!"
So how many brownie points would I get to the Lord if I brought his head?
You would get off the shit list.
Yes!
Okay, and befriending the enemies, give us a specific.
Probably like had out a Simizi voivode with like a crutch. Like I had him out of werewolves first, and he offered to extend his hospitality if I help him out with something else, and I just ended up in this chantry, and I don't know what happened.
Okay, and in terms of... Well, that actually covers befriending the enemies as well, but give us another specific for that one specifically. Namely,
Let's see what would be a good one.
Listen, this shouldn't be that hard. The Tremere have a lot of enemies.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Basically everyone.
Basically everyone, yes.
And maybe he befriended like a gargoyle. that he met on like a night out in the Chantry library.
Okay, so you burned the library, killed a bunch of Tremere, along with Zimitzi and Zimitzi Wargulls, and adopted their gargoyle.
Wow. The list just grows longer.
I never thought I would see a worthy replacement for half that in terms of sheer bullshit fuckery.
You are where I would have to kill you for this.
But it was years ago over in Europe, Jackal.
I'm not sure Kurt would let you if he knows about this story.
I will keep my mouth shut. You know, maybe they don't recognize me.
It's kind of a tenuous thing, Jackalor, where Kurt is supporting you, but he's supporting you because you're being a good boy who's behaving himself very, very carefully.
I'm pretty sure just seeing this Odin would make me roll for a frenzy.
You
At
know,
least
maybe
I
you
think.
never heard of him.
Listen,
Yeah, maybe.
it's at least double digits in terms of promising careers he's ended.
Don't worry, I've become more calm and cooperational since I came back from into the new world.
Mm-hmm. So if the gangrel woke up like, hey, the chantry is burning and the werewolf smashed through the ward, so you coming or what?
Okay, yeah, I would probably come.
Regent, the vampires of the city have come to aid you. Oh no, it's the gangrel!
Close the gates!
Okay, and the Ravnos. Tell us about the fucking Ravnos.
Yeah, he met them several times throughout his travels before and after his change. And they had like a good relationship generally. Like he approached them as like people he can learn something from, and like respected them for their cunning. And like a specific like in his early on life he was he gambled with a Ravnos and who cheated, and it cost him a lot of his possession until he managed to discover how the Ravnos cheated. But even after he discovered it, he thanked him for the lesson and let him keep what he had won.
Okay. And the second one?
Like maybe a prince in a city wasn't open towards the Ravnos when they came to stay for a while. So he stood up for them.
Oh, you know what? For fun, you can say that you were in the city, that Alan was chosen, actually volunteer, to remove the Ravenos.
You could also shift the second point of Ravnos to something else, because that's... Like, Ravnos are gonna like you a lot, and they're gonna come to you in case they need something, but they're unlikely to be that many.
Yeah, then let's see who would be a good one to put that point into.
Like, you've traveled a lot, I would give you this option. You could take a plus with changelings, because the Ghetto Fenris really hate Fae up in the north, for whatever reason.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, this is a fun story.
Oh yeah, there's also this one northern Scandinavian noble house that the changelings have that believe they were gods, I believe, or something like that.
I don't know all the noble houses by heart, so maybe I don't know. I don't recall.
So yeah, I mean, he probably helped a she noble out against the get offenders.
Okay. So the mileage will vary based on this, but as long as you behave yourself, you can generally at least get through the doors in a freehold to talk to people. Once they
Okay.
figure out that, oh shit, that's him. Wait, I've heard about this one. Let me just... Okay. What the fuck do they have in terms of boons? Oh. Other than nobles. At the same time, that wouldn't necessarily apply to you. It's... Well, doesn't matter. Not... Mostly because you would be interacting with a lot more than just this one house.
Yeah, probably.
So... Oh yeah, the get offenders are not gonna like you much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's weird, like, you hunt them, you help their enemies, and it's like... Okay then, I guess. No, fuck, the changelings are gonna be having a fun time because there's fucking get offenders on their faces as well.
And that's a good thing for the city, right?
Okay. So, we've done that. Let's take a look at moving some more stuff into a cult then. It's... like the most convenient place to take it from. It's kind of hard to say. I assume you didn't put any freebies into things like backgrounds, right?
Let's check.
Doesn't look like it.
No, I didn't.
Removing brawl doesn't make sense because you fought a lot.
Honestly, I'd say subterfuge.
Subterfuge or dump wit. It's about the only two places you can take stuff away. If you only become subtle more recently and been gathering occult stuff since you started, having 5 occult and 3 subterfuge makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. Okay, then let's change that real quick.
And, well, I don't know. Do you want to go up to 5? Or, sorry, not 5, 6.
I mean, I could take another floor or something. I think I still have 2 points that I could fill.
I know it's kind of hard to think of something that would necessarily fit.
Yeah, huh.
What else have you spent on?
I could drop self-control to 3.
You could drop self-control 3. You've been pretty brutal.
Yeah, let's do that. That actually makes a lot of sense considering.
He's almost as much an asshole as you. Wait, didn't you go up in humanity, Jackalor?
Yes.
So you're at 4,
It
right?
means,
Or at 3?
yeah, it
I
means my
believe so.
humanity drops by 1. 1 second, that means
Yeah, I'm
my
at 4
food is
here.
6 now, and my humanity is 4.
You also need to adjust the total experience spent at the bottom.
Yep, I haven't done it yet. There we go.
Okay. In terms of background, what would the resource be from?
Like a long time living and probably like raided things that he sold and stuff like that.
Okay, so essentially that's loot from various battles that has been liquidated, rather than finance and business in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
And I assume Sven is the one that just keeps track of the accounts and makes sure that things are semi-cool on that end.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, excellent. And then you need to choose one permanent animal feature, because you're Gangrel, and over time you would have picked at least one. Same as we did with Halfdan, that's with you these days. Doesn't have to be physical, can also be a mannerism.
Okay, how would be a good one, a fitting one?
Or we can start by figuring out what your spirit animals are.
A wolf and a raven.
Okay, so instead of a bat, you turn into a raven for your flight form.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Maybe this. When people or animals or look you in the eye, you have a tendency to interpret that as a challenge.
Yeah, let's do that.
No, Valernos, mounting to show dominance is not an appropriate trait. God damn it. Okay. Okay, and I think that is in general terms most of the things. So, background wise, I think despite you pissing off the Ventru, or perhaps because of it, a third dot of status makes a certain amount of sense.
Yeah, probably.
So if you want to go there, that is acceptable.
Yeah, might be a good idea.
And in terms of a deal with Devil to get more of something, well, what would be an appropriate gain? I would give you this option, I think. You could sacrifice either a dot of willpower or a dot of humanity in order to get clan status gangrel to 4, and this would mean that at some point in your life you were briefly captured by the Tremere before you were rescued and suffered because of it and have the clan's respect to a greater extent.
Could he pick up clan enmity Tremere as well?
He could if he wasn't already pretty loaded on flaws.
I thought he picked it up despite being at more than think.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
I
can get-
had. Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
want
no.
him to die, Jackalor is the thing.
Fair enough.
You have
I
a
mean,
Chantry,
he can get the flaw without taking any bonus freebies, right?
Let's see. I think I will drop humanity to.
But yeah, I
then
was
again,
at
3 is
5.
low.
Yeah, I was at 5 flaws as well when I picked up my clan enmity for 3 points.
I will give you the option to pick up Clan Enmity Tremere for less points. Usually it's 4, you'll get 3. If you wish, with my warning that if not for the werewolves, you would be in deep danger in the coming arcs, and even with the werewolves there, they could find a way to completely fuck you over.
No, I would rather not.
Fair enough.
Something has to be sacrificed.
Humanity would be it would be a bit bad to go to 3.
It would be, but it's also easier to get back.
So,
Because we house rule it and let you roll conscience to try and claw your way back to your normal resting point, which for you would be 4. Or actually no, if you do good deeds you can get higher than that. It's various passive regains that happen, you know, when time passes that let you go up to your resting point.
yeah, It's just, if I ever have to fight during the day, 3 humanity would be a death sentence. Oof. No, actually, I can just turn into a raven and leak.
I mean, turn the mist. That would usually work. Or does Protean Fire still not exist?
Yeah, let's drop humanity by 1. I think that gets me to where you take penalties to get bearing, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
you take a
have
-1.
for humanity.
But you have a Swen, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Then there is a little scene we should play out. Unless there's something I'm forgetting. Don't think there is. So, you are in a tower in New Orleans downtown where you've been told the prince at about this time receives any new arrivals. You are allowed entry, and inside you see several figures. You see a prince sitting on a large, ornate wooden chair, with the figure of a child on one knee, sitting in his lap. Several other figures are standing, flanking the chair, with one of them by the side of the room, watching you as you enter.
I like take my head off and bow a little.
Kurt motions for you to approach, gestures at the area in front of him.
Yep, I'll walk up then.
Good evening.
Good evening. And let's see, I think I picked a name for my sire, so I could say that my lineage in a bit, I guess, if I had to.
You have a total of 3 status, so it'd be difficulty 7 once you start introducing yourself. Let me just get an idea of if they would know you. Oh yeah, they have pretty pathetic dice pools on this actually. Well, she's even worse. Okay. So, you are new to the city, I assume?
Indeed, I only just arrived.
Well, I appreciate you stopping by to say hi.
Well, as it is customary.
So, what are you looking to do here?
Heard that the city struggles, or is about to struggle with those called Garou by themselves.
Ah,
And since I was just traveling through these parts, I thought I might lend a hand.
well, by all means, who are you? Where do you come from?
My name is Harald Eriksson, and I hail from Scandinavia. Originally, though, it has been quite a few decades since I left Europe for the New World.
Interesting. Scandinavia. And who are your people?
I'm of Clan Gangrel.
Right. You wouldn't happen to be like a friend of a certain gangrel we used to have around here? Halfdan?
What was his full name again?
Halvdan Berdal.
Yes, Halfdan Bergdahl. I met him a couple of times. I trust he is well.
Ah. Unfortunately, I have bad news for you. A Justicar claimed him, and that is the last we have heard.
Oh,
Halfdan... Well, I don't know how well you knew him, but...
he was a great lawmaster and
also
poet.
pervert by some accounts. We believe that is what got him into his predicament.
I see.
It was unfortunate, but he got careless.
Some do with age, I suppose.
How long do you intend to stay?
I'm not quite sure yet, but I don't have any other places that I essentially have to attend to, and I haven't decided how long before the last to wander packs me again.
Okay. Well, as you've already mentioned, there is a number of werewolves that have been causing trouble. I would appreciate if you did not escalate, but you should carry silver on you and be ready to defend yourself. And,
Of course.
you are welcome to stay in the city for the time being. And, Harald,
Yes, Prince.
I don't mind all that much that you didn't tell me your real name, but I always know when you lie to me. Keep that in mind for the future.
I will, Prince.
Thank you for visiting.
And I guess I bow again.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you. And then I leave. By the way, can I have like a silver spear?
Sure.
You want fucking Gungnir?
Sure, you have a silver spear that has been... Every part of it has been replaced at least 3 times over its lifetime by now. But you definitely have a silver spear, sure.
Yay. So I just have to dig up the stats for spears and polearms somewhere.
They're in werewolf, I think.
Werewolf weapons, warwhack, well... If it becomes necessary, we'll find an appropriate stat block, but...
Okay, I will just note it down in my inventory that I own a silver spear.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that it's good to have a proper prince in power again.
After the dark times.
Spears only have a thrown weapon thing in werewolf, which is weird.
Let me check. I think
It's
mage has
strength
long.
plus. Oh, but yeah, in werewolf it's strength +1 for a thrown weapon.
You know, if it's a heavy spear, like something you might use to hunt boars and the like, just assume that it's... For now, just assume it's well enough made that it's a +2 lethal weapon for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Would it give the bonus of that swords do with +1 difficulty, or do we not count that? I don't remember.
We generally don't, and honestly, with a spear, it might on the first round, but once they step in close, a spear is actually less good. Spears are better in formation or against the charge,
Yeah.
from what I hear.
They're
Okay.
still pretty good at repelling people. When single combat, but I can get that.
Oh yeah, mage has pole armor at least.
Okay.
And it's difficulty 7 to hit, but it's strength +3 damage.
Yeah, we can go with that.
Okay.
Though I assume that you usually go in for the brawling, given your skills.
Yeah, I'm better at brawling.
Once they get inside the spear's reach, you just swipe with a claw. Okay, well, once you reach the Gangrel territories, they tell you what's up, and it looked pretty good for a while. there was a couple of elders in town holding things together. Unfortunately, they both managed to get themselves arrested/killed. And people have left. There's not that many Tremere here, and the consensus is that, some fucking how the Tremere managed to win. Because one of them is sheriff now, and they're fucked. Yeah, by the time you get there, there's 4 gangrel left. They're moderately competent ones. But it's nothing like the glory days.
Yeah, that's well, at least 4. Could be much worse. And I mean, I'm here now.
Actually, no, I think there is more than that, cause after you arrive, like couple weeks, a coterie of 3 gangrel shows up. They have apparently been chased out by a Ventru prince in another city.
Oof.
And, yeah. Things do seem to be coming to a head as you settle into the city. The werewolf numbers, especially over the last year, have swelled considerably. Even the most powerful Auspex-wielding elders can no longer pierce the defensive magics around their cairn with any reliability. And there's sort of ominous, from the rumors you hear at least, set of veiled threats in the negotiations. You better give us the chantry or else is implied a lot.
That sounds glorious. A perfect place to stay for a few years.
But yeah, there's about 4 of them when you arrive, but with the other new arrivals, there's another 4 or 5 coming in, specifically of the gangrel, though none of them are anywhere near your age or power.
So I'm the oldest one, huh?
I guess you're Primogen now.
That would be funny.
As far as leadership is concerned, Daniel just tells you that essentially they had a long talk with the now prince when he took over, and the consensus was like, I'm not a fuck up, you're not a fuck up, you're gonna want obedience, we're gonna want protection, let's just be, cool with each other. So there's sort of, it's not a particularly fervent alliance, but they're on friendly terms with the Bruja and the Prince. Less so with the Tremere, but that's more of a old slight than a current war at this point.
Better keep it that way,
yeah.
bitches.
I can respect that. Yeah, I can respect that. Like, it's a good way to deal with them if you are currently weak.
Like, Daniel is generally not gonna offer to hand over the primogenship, but so it depends on essentially if you raise the issue and how you raise it. You could just try and kick his ass.
What impression does Clan Gengar make at the moment?
To you?
Yeah.
They seem kind of lost, especially with the new arrivals, but from what you pick up, you get the impression that they have had a semi-competent guiding hand at some point in the recent past. Like, they know bits and pieces of the more obvious histories. They're not completely oblivious But you know, they could be in better shape, obviously.
Okay, and like, what kind of person is this Daniel?
You get the impression that he is. I'm gonna pull up his sheet in a second. But he values tradition, and you get the impression that he's wandered a great deal himself, and he wouldn't necessarily mind handing over the reins to you if you know, are actually invested in staying here and worthy of it. But he's not just gonna do it if you're gonna leave in a couple of months, because if he did that every time an elder passed through, the clan would be fucked.
Yeah, obviously, I can respect it, and he sounds like a decent person, and maybe I will raise the issue if I decide to stay for a
Okay?
long time officially, but not currently.
And one more thing that is of the most concern to the gangrel, and why they've kind of moved as a coterie, or at least did before you arrived and more arrivals started coming in. There's apparently a werewolf pack that has been making not direct confrontations, but essentially sending the subtle message that the park is theirs. Not a week goes by that there isn't a reminder, usually in the parts that the gangrel tend to congregate, that the werewolves are here regularly. And at times, you are allowed to see figures in Krynos form through the trees before they withdraw.
He should do something against that to show them who's
Yeah.
not.
I hate to say this, but I think it's better off in the gangrel hands than the werewolf hands.
It's a tough dilemma, isn't it?
No, I mean, this is definitely gangrel territory. They shouldn't be there.
They disagree. They'll expand the park to encompass the chantry, and this will be a new cairn. Everything west of the park, humans are gonna have to abandon, and that will be the wildlands stretching out from the city from now on. But that is, in general terms, the state of the clan as you find it.
I mean, if they created a cairn there.
Yeah, I see that the clan desperately needs me to clean out the park at some point.
But a cairn, think of the possibilities.
Yeah, in terms of domain, they probably have like some plots, not in the park, but in the surrounding areas, where they've sort of carved out tiny individual domains that are not too far from each other, the four that have been here for a while. Where they can, easily support each other, but set up so they don't step on each other's toes when they hunt and the like.
Okay, yeah, that makes a good amount of sense.
Yeah, in terms of Malkavians, they're friendly. Officially, the city considers the clans allies, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I mean, the gangrel in the city are okay. They're competent, but at the same time, they're Malkavians and they're fucking annoying. But at least, they're moderately tolerable. And for some reason, they seem to like us, so for now. Redemer, no.
What did Redemer say?
There's apparently a fan book that lets gangrel simulate being a werewolf.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oof, that's cancerous.
You would know that the park is Elysium, but since the werewolves started making power moves, other than one or two Malkavians occasionally showing up in the gangrel themselves, it's mostly abandoned as a meeting place.
Okay, who's the keeper?
Theoretically, it's Daniel. In practice, all the gangrel maintain order here, collectively.
Ah, okay.
They never elected a individual keeper after Kavdan got... or Maxim, I guess, was the latest one.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
but
Maxim.
yeah, but take great joy in also taking care of that Elysium.
Think that's mostly it for pertinent alliances. There's some mention of, like, the Nosferatu Primogen sometimes wanting to wrestle Gators in some of their outlying domains, but they don't see any reason to forbid this as long as they don't take too many and depopulate the area. And he seems to be pretty humble about how many he takes.
Yeah, he sounds like a good chap.
Okay. So, I think that's what we needed to cover with your character, unless there's any questions or things you would like to cover. You will be in the city for at least 3 or 4 months before the arc actually kicks off, so you'll have essentially had time to at least learn a lot of the basics.
Okay, yeah, that's good. But yeah, I don't have any questions currently, I think.
Okay. So, well, Demi should be back soon, and we're going to discuss the rules. Maybe we should take a break here and then continue in 10-15 minutes when he's hopefully here.
Yeah,
Sure.
that sounds good.
Okay. Then that's the character introduction / creation part for Harald Eriksson, who opened up his introduction by lying to the prince. Well done.
It's in character. Once